So welcome everybody to Love Speaks Love. I'm just double checking that everything is in order. Oh, I'm not sure if it's live yet. There we go. Welcome everybody to Love Speaks Love. I've just turned the volume down, but I'm just going to turn it down on this page. There we go. All right, I can hear you again now.
You can't even speaking.
So welcome to Love Speaks Love, everybody. And I am Denise, your host. And my lovely, lovely guest today is David Maria. Welcome, David. Welcome back.
Thank you, Denise. It's not only a pleasure to be here, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to double check on my phone and bring it up on the phone so I can see comments and share it along. Anybody is with us and they wish to share it, it is always most welcome. Okay, yes, we are live. So I'm going to share it to the Love Speaks Love page and a few groups. Hi, Pamela. Oh, Pamela, you've been on my mind. I'm going to message you later. I received an activation over the weekend and you keep coming to mind for it. So I'm going to message you about that. Oh, everything's in a different order. That's funny. Trying to find particular groups is tricky. Where's it gone? Where's Shanice's little group?
While you're doing that, I'm going to take advantage of something right quick.
Okay. Just bear with us. There it is. Okay. So I shall in a second or two do the little heart-to-heart connect. And for those that don't know, Love Speaks Love is a platform for people to share experiences, wisdom, and one of my goals through doing Love Speaks Love is to bring us all together, to increase through that our unity consciousness. And also my biggest dream really is for people to live their lives from their hearts. So one of the reasons why I do the little heart-to-heart connect at the beginning is just for that, so that people experience what it's like to bring their awareness to the heart space. And the more we do that, the more easy it becomes to just do that naturally without trying. So I'm going to start with that. So I invite us all to bring our awareness to our heart space. And if you wish to put one or both hands around your heart space while we do this, that would be amazing. So let us all breathe in love, breathing love into our beautiful hearts, knowing that as we do that, every cell in our bodies fills with love. And as we breathe in more love, the love extends out into our energy field. And while we're in this beautiful heart space, if there's any people, any situations, any places on the planet that would benefit from the love that we're all bringing into our awareness, then just send love to those people, those places, those situations. And joining all of our hearts together in this one unified field of love. And of course, we are all joined, but just bringing that into our awareness. And extending our heart awareness out to the heart of Gaia. You may like to just visualize that you're within the heart of Gaia, Gaia's heart field. And as we do that, feeling Gaia's love for all of us, feeling her recognition of all that we are, all that we do, and feeling her gratitude. And extending our heart awareness out now to the heart of the sun. Feeling the love from the solar being entering your body, entering your heart, entering every single cell of your body. And extending that heart awareness out to the heart of the central sun. And the heart of Source Creator. And feeling those beautiful source energies, source codes entering your body, entering your heart, flowing out from your heart into your energy field. And again, just feeling all of our hearts beating as one. Feeling that one unified field of love. David, is there anything that you would like to add?
Yes, notice that as that love just continues to flow down from source, that it flows down as this beautiful translucent crystalline light. And as it comes down through your crown, which opens and flowers as it does. And then it comes down and it begins to surround your heart. And as you continue to breathe, that sphere of pure love continues to grow larger and larger and larger until it is bigger than each one of us, and it surrounds us and we are inside of it.
Beautiful. Okay, so if anybody's eyes are closed, I invite you to open them again. And just presencing ourselves in this now moment. I could just sit here in silence. That was really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So thank you, everybody that's joined us. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the current energies. And it's interesting because it almost feels like there's a very slight dip in the energies at the moment to me, like there's a little bit of a lull, but it feels like we're about to take off again as we lead into the Lionsgate energies. So how are you finding the energies at the moment? And I also wanted to ask you, when the energies are really strong, how do you navigate? What do you do to navigate those energies?
Boy, that's a really big question. How do I navigate them? I'm like everybody else. Sometimes I trip and fall flat on my face. sometimes they literally flatten me, especially when we have confluences that come together in terms of astrological energies or deep dimensional energies through from other galaxies that are currently flowing in stronger and stronger and stronger. Combine that with local events like our sun with potential solar flares and coronal mass ejections or really strong solar winds. Sometimes they just absolutely flatten me. And I don't know that there is a way. I just call them amplified now and just adjust to them. And other times it's just part of the flow. We're just in the flow. And the more that we surrender who we think we are, our small selves, our ego selves, the more that we let go of any attempt, any shred or vestige of attempt to be able to control what's going on, because we really don't, even if we think we do, the easier it is. And yeah, we're in the Lionsgate window where all of the new energies for the coming year will begin to come through. So things are pretty amplified right now. There's no question about it. And everybody experiences it differently.
I thought it was interesting. Celia put a post up recently, Celia Fenn, that was talking about a bit of a respite over full moon. And I thought how interesting, it's a real sign of the times. Because normally the full moon energies are just, everything's amplified. And how interesting, and it's a sign of the times that we actually can experience a lull during the full moon. It just shows how the energies at the moment and the energies surrounding the full moon have been so intense that we can actually feel like there's respite when there's a full moon, whereas 5-10 years ago I've never heard that said before, and 5-10 years ago I can't imagine how we would have navigated what we're navigating now.
It took those 5 or 10 years to build ourselves up, to build our nervous systems, to get strong enough to be able to handle those energies without shattering us prematurely. I know a lot of people that are very enthusiastic about bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, and they want to go faster and faster. The world's mental institutions are filled with some of the most brilliant people that have ever been on the planet, and they woke up too fast. Their nervous systems were not ready for it, and they're not able to function in the world the way that and the way that most people do. So there is something to be said for just allowing it to happen. One of the things that I talk about a lot is that there really isn't anything that we can do to make this happen. We can't make it do anything. What we can do is just allow. It's just if we're falling apart, allow yourself to fall apart. And I wrote a post this morning that basically said, stop standing on the edge of the ocean, feeling the immensity of the love that's in there. Just dive in, let the riptide take you out into the middle of the ocean where all swimming ends in drowning. Because eventually we're going to drown in that love.
Beautiful. Yeah, you touched on something there about or maybe you didn't, maybe it just created a thought in my head. But I think for me, navigating these times, being out in nature is really helpful for me. And just to tune into my body. And this is what you were saying as well. If you're flattened, then be flattened. Just allow yourself, whatever it is. If you're energized, then that's great. You can go and mow the lawn and you can go and dance or whatever you need to do. But I think a lot of the problems can happen when we're fighting the energies and resisting the energies as well. I think I feel that tuning into our bodies and just sussing out where we're at and just allowing our bodies to be and allowing ourselves to just do as we're being guided
in some cases, resistance can translate directly to being painful. And there is that expression. I don't know who I could attribute this to, but I've heard it many times. We can either go with ease and grace, or we can be drug kicking and screaming. And trust me, ease and grace is a lot more fun. I've experienced my fair share of kicking and screaming.
I think we all have. I think we all have.
It's always interesting to watch if something like that begins to surface, because it's just a temporary disturbance in the field, if you will. It too will pass. It always passes. We always come back to the place to where we surrender.
So when did you, I know it's been a while, when did you start on this ascension journey, embodiment journey, whatever you want to call it? When did you start on this? And you shared about your experience in Africa, but what kind of led up to that?
Well, I've in one way or another, I've been on the path all my life. Whether that was effective being on the path or not, whether that was truly conscious, probably not. Things began to really blossom and open for me on my birthday in January 2011. I was born at midnight and at 12:01, and on that particular day, at 12:01, this huge portal opened in the ceiling of my bedroom. And for the next 8 hours, there was this continuous stream of higher dimensional beings coming in and talking to me, sharing things, telling me things. And I've surprisingly, I've never had a vision to that extent since then. It seemed to be a one-off, if you will. There were multiple dragons that came in, and then in December of that same year, December of 2012, I had another major awakening on the solstice, on the winter solstice. And that set off a chain of events where I ended up moving to the base of Mount Hood in Northern Oregon, and lived there for 4 years, and then on the Oregon coast. And part of being on the Oregon coast was that's when I went to Africa. So it's just continued to come in waves, and as each wave comes in, it continues to deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen the experience. That you just go farther and farther and farther. It's who we are. It's what we're here to do. And I understand what ascension is. I don't think that's what we're doing anymore. This is me talking. This is me not. Everybody's free to disagree with this if they wish. That's not an issue. It feels like what we're doing right now is unprecedented. That it's not happened this way before. Normally, when somebody reaches a stage of self-realization in the past, the way it's been done is that they would drop their body almost instantly, and they would go back into non-physical and be an ascended master. But we're not doing that now. What we're doing is we're embodying in the physical. So it's a combination of cleansing our physical bodies of distorted energies, of trauma energies, which, including myself, everybody has. I don't care who it is. There is cellular memories that are stored in all of us throughout the entirety of our incarnational streams, which could be trillions of lives. And they're all happening concurrently. They're all happening simultaneously in a now moment. And as those clearings happen, the frequency of the body rises and the body begins to ascend. But as it does, the soul descends into it and comes into it, and it lives in us as an embodied master. And that's who all of us are becoming. That's what is in front of all of us. No matter where you are on the path, that's still what's happening. So you've heard me say this before. If you have an opportunity to go, don't. Please don't. Because the very first thing you're going to say probably, when you discover that you're gone is, oops, can I get a new body right quick, please? Can I go back and finish? So don't be in a hurry to leave. It's a phenomenal blessing to be here incarnate in this body.
Especially at this time.
Especially at this time.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on the way that you described the ascension. For me, it was almost like, not that we're rising as such, but the frequency of our energy is rising, like the rate of the rate of the oscillation almost of our frequency bands is rising. And so that there's less of a differential between our higher self or our soul, whatever you want to call that, and us. The more there is of a differential, the less our higher self, our soul can be embodied in our body, because there's too much of a difference. There's too much, like, you know, when I started on this ascension journey, whatever you want to call it, I held a lot of, what would be the word? A lot of heavier energy. I would have called it negative energy before, but I don't really like to use that word in those terms.
Information.
Yeah, and there was a lot of these distortions in my field, and there still is, but there's less than there was. So it's easier. The less that there is in your body, the easier it is for your higher self, your soul, to actually be within us and be kind of running the show.
Well, I don't think we run the show at all. Not anymore. If you truly ask me, I think we're just being lived through anymore.
We just promise that. We're just.
And as frequencies continue to raise us. So let me just share an experience back in what have been 2014. I had a dramatic shift in the frequency, the vibration that I was working with. I apologize for the planes that are going on. There's a fire reasonably close to here. The planes are working on putting it out. The frequency of my vibration rose so dramatically, so quickly. It was like going from 1 to 1,000,000 in just a short span of time, into like in less than a day instead of a year. And when I woke up from dreams that morning, the entire left side of my body was numb.
Wow.
I had what turned out to be a transient stroke. It was a very minor event, but that was just a shock to the body. The body was not ready for it. It wasn't in balance. I had, at that time frame, I certainly hadn't done the level of work in terms of shadow work and clearing that has gone on since then. But it definitely got my attention, shall we say. And let's just say that shadow work is definitely part of what we do, and it's not something to, it's not a boogaboo. It's not something to be scared of. It's just information. It's just cellular information that is stored inside of us that is looking to be cleared and be able to release. It's just an illusion, but it's there, and nonetheless, it still has to come out. So it's really interesting to experience this in ways that sometimes that there's a group of us that we talk about our souls being kamikaze pilots. But they don't really care if we survive. We're going to do this work, and they push us right up to the edge sometimes. And I think the team that I work with of disembodied masters, that I think I'm a good source of humor for them, because sometimes I can almost hear them. I haven't heard them say it exactly, but it's like, oh my God, back off, you're going to kill him. And then they all laugh about it because the energy does back off a little bit. So I don't know if that's common for others, but I know that there are some that it's common for.
You reminded me of an experience I had a long time ago when I was still nursing. It was maybe 5 years before I kind of got onto this journey, and I was getting ready to go to work, and I could see this spiral kind of more on my right side than my left, and I could see it with my eyes open. It was like this green color, and now I see it as crystalline frequencies. And I felt really peculiar. I felt really odd, and I felt like I couldn't speak. And I wasn't sure if my blood sugar was a little bit low. You know, I'd not had my lunch yet. I was on a late shift as a nurse. And it just kind of passed. I think I ate something and it just kind of passed. I could drive, I could function, but I felt like I couldn't speak. And then it happened again one time at work, similar kind of circumstances. And this spiral, like now, like I say, I just see it as being so crystalline now, but it was more on my right eye. So I'm not sure if that's to do with my right side of the brain or the left side of the brain, because I tend to think that the right eye corresponds to the right side of the brain and the left. And it's actually lower down that it twists over and, you know, becomes the other side of your body. And this second time I was actually at work and I couldn't speak. And I thought I would be able to write down, because I was working with somebody and I couldn't express to her what was going on. And I went to try and write it down and I couldn't. I couldn't write words either. Like I could still think the words, but I couldn't speak them. And now I feel that it was some kind of activation. But this was, you know, this was maybe 20 years ago. Longer, actually. It's probably more like 25 years ago. Yeah, so I had no idea what it was at the time. I wondered if, you know, it was almost like the start of a fit, or like you say, like a transient ischemic attack or something like that. But now I feel it was some kind of activation that was going on. Yeah, I'm not really sure why I mentioned that, but I just felt the nudge to bring that up.
You did. I think those experiences happen to all of us. Mm. I still get downloads. I'll be in the kitchen preparing something or just getting something or just washing dishes or whatever, and a download will start, and I'll have to very quickly go sit down on the couch or sometimes just sit on the floor.
Yeah.
Because it's momentarily overpowering. So
yeah.
It just amps us up quickly, and our bodies have to, every time the frequency of our vibration rises, the physical body has to rise to that occasion. It has to match that frequency, which usually entails some kind of detoxification, whether it's physical or energetic, whether it's trauma or whatever it is. And it's disconcerting to the body for temporarily. Gradually, we learn to just let the riptide take us, and we go out into the middle of the ocean and we drown. I love that. I love that expression. I love that phrase.
You mentioned dragons when you had that experience in either the one in 2011 or the one in 2012. I love dragons. Dragons have been quite a big part of my journey for a little while. I wondered if there was anything else that you could share about the dragons, either what they were like at the time that you saw them, or whether you connect with them since.
These were wonderful, amazing beings, and dragons are phenomenal beings. They show up. If you can imagine your journey leaving source and going out into incarnation, and then after trillions of years, however long it is, we begin the journey of returning. If you imagine that journey to be 65 trillion years, the last 1/10 of 100th of a millimeter can be the most difficult part of it, because that's when the dragons show up, and they will push anything that you are still holding on to. I don't care what it is. They will push everything to the surface, and they will not necessarily be nice about it. That's what they're there for, is to push it up, is to show it to you. if you think you're just having these fabulous, glorious experiences, and you're still carrying some cellular rage somewhere in your body, they're going to show it to you. That's a lot of what they do. They're just phenomenal beings, incredibly pure, and so misunderstood culturally worldwide. So, but they're truly amazing beings. This particular one was feminine, and I have a very deep affinity and relationship with her, although I haven't seen her in a while.
Do you feel she's an aspect of you?
Say that again?
Do you feel that she's an aspect of you?
Everything's an aspect of us. Doesn't matter. Whatever presents, whatever's in front of us, that's us. The universe is showing us everything that comes into our field is functioning as a mirror to show us who we are.
How would you say that you are different since your embodiment of the Eden template?
Whoa, I can't even remember who I used to be in that former incarnation. I mean, there is such a thing that there's a continuity of cellular memory. So I still somewhat look the same, maybe a little bit bigger, but I still look the same, maybe a little bit less hair. But my voice seems to sound the same, but I'm not. I'm not the same. I'm not the same being. Having embodied everything. I told somebody yesterday that, and I hadn't phrased it this way. So the Eden template is an awakening to your direct connection to source. At its very basic, it opens up the source connection in our spine and allows that energy to just freely flow through us. And as it flows through us, it begins to transform us. It begins to align. It begins the process of aligning our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And as that process happens, that alignment becomes finer and finer and finer and finer until the line that we're talking about is less than a billionth of the width of an atom or a subatomic particle. It becomes finer and finer and finer as the energy fully aligns and comes into us. So I now know that it is like I say that I'm the living embodiment of the Eden template, and I am. And cellularly, what that means is that part of what the Eden template is it's a connection directly to source and to creation. And creation can be, you can think of creation as being your physical body, can also be your home or a planet or the solar system or a galaxy or a dimension or a universe or a multiverse. It does not matter. It's just the only difference is one of scale. So creating your physical body is identical to creating an entirely new world or creating a new dimension or a galaxy. It does not matter. So cellularly, I know that I carry those codes, what could be called creation codes. They're embodied in me. And it's not anything that is, it just doesn't make me special at all. It just means that I'm the carrier. Gives that new meaning in relation to being, say, all of the hoopla that's going on around COVID globally. Yeah, I'm a carrier of creation codes. So, and I'm able to share that with others. And as that sharing happens, because I'm able to share it through a transmission, and that transmission begins the process in each person that I work with that same level of alignment. And they will work, each person will work with it as they work with it. My work is just to give that, to share that and transmit it. Once it's been given, then it's like a seed, and it's up to the person to nourish that seed and take care of it.
Having experienced level 1 and level 2 of the Eden template, it was super, super powerful. I was very much when the transmission was given to us by you, I was very much in and out. Like I know when things are deep because I'm kind of pulled out of my body and pop back in, like not properly asleep, but not properly here, but not in that space between either. Like,
yeah, I know that's big.
Yeah. And I feel since, yeah, definitely more alignment. It's hard to exactly put it into words, and it's hard to know because I'm always doing a lot of things personally and receiving activations as well. So it's hard to know what is from what. But I definitely feel kind of more of my focus, maybe. I'm a little bit clearer, not necessarily clearer of where I'm going, but something I'm more clear about where I don't want to go, if that makes sense. Like I feel more, yeah, definitely more aligned. And I felt the second one, I feel that's had more, up to this point, more effect on my physical body. Because the second one is to do with the spine, isn't it? And well, not the spine exactly, but that whole kind of central column energy. And I can feel that there's been a great deal of shedding from there, and it feels like my physical body feels clearer since then. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. That's how it works. And I actually don't refer to the class, and this is recent. I don't refer to the class anymore as levels.
Right.
There are currently 7 classes. I have not. I'm in the process of beginning to offer them. Beginning July 10th, I'm going to offer one of them every 2 weeks in succession. But really and truly, this is a shamanic process. And with any shamanic process, it's a quantum process, and everything is up in the air. It's just pick up. You can take all of classes and throw them up in the air and let them fall, and then pick the one that you want to experience. And so the very last class can happen first, and the first class can happen last. There is no sequence of order. That's just how I present it. It's not lineal, but that's how I have guidance initially to be able to present them. But all of those pieces now, just throwing them up in the air and letting them land. So I don't care anymore who signs up for what class. There's no prerequisites. If you want to come to a class, come to a class. This is me. I'm finally beginning to understand. I don't have to exercise any degree of control over the information and who wishes to receive it. If somebody resonates and is called, they resonates and they're called. Come. And yes, I do offer more organized, quote unquote, whatever that means, sequence classes like the Freedom from the Known class that I offer, which is a 9-week process. And it's like a sine wave where, sometimes it's above the horizon and sometimes it's below. And we do activations and clearing and activations and clearing and activations and clearing in a process moving towards just gradually cleansing the physical body and in the etheric bodies, the energy fields, and just raising the overall frequency of the vibration. It's truly astounding to see some of the experiences and the breakthroughs that people have. It's phenomenal. I'm just amazed.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Freedom from the Known from friends that are on it, and I'm looking forward to joining you. And that starts on July the 10th, doesn't it?
It does. And just as a side note, the early registration for that ends July 1st.
July 1st.
It becomes, the energy exchange becomes a little steeper after July 1st. And I realize it's very close. That's only a couple of days away.
It still feels like it's at least 2 weeks off, but you're right. It's not. It's in a few days.
In terms of getting a steep discount.
And let me just check I've got this right. So do you offer a session as well?
I do one-on-one sessions, and they're across the board. Initially, when I started doing them, they seemed to be more focused on releasing trauma from the individual, the person that I'm working with. Those could be trauma from this life. They could be traumas from other lives. And gradually, over time, as more and more energy of what it is comes through, whatever the trauma was, the story of it becomes less and less and less important. In fact, it doesn't mean anything. It's a story. You have a story. I have a story. Everybody has a story. So they literally don't matter. All that is really important is what is the energy, what is the feeling that is contained within that story as it begins to surface. So let's say that you had a traumatic experience someplace that was really traumatic, and there was a large emotional charge that came with it. If those charges are strong enough, they fracture off from us and they get stored cellularly in our bodies. And they're still there. They still run us subconsciously until they finally do surface. And so that's one of the things that is offered through doing a session. But sometimes they take their own direction. And I want to stress this: I have no zilch control over what happens in a session. They arise as they arise, and sometimes people have experienced a surfacing or an awakening of some of the gifts that they came in with that had been dormant. Sometimes it's a deepening into the awareness of who they are and what their line is, what their lineage is. In the past maybe 3 months, I've had multiple people that are part of the Sophia line with Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene that have done sessions, and I'm just blown away just to be in their presence as they go deeper into the awareness of who they are as a soul and that they're part of that lineage. Sometimes it's the resurfacing of long buried gifts that are ready to be recovered. But I don't want anybody to sign up for a session based on this conversation that, oh, he's going to help me do this. I would like to go back and stress, I have no control over what happens. None whatsoever. I never know what a session's going to be. I never know until it actually begins and it starts. Even talking with it. You can schedule a session with me and tell me what you want to work with, and it may be something completely opposite. It's an unknown.
And am I correct in thinking that when people sign up for the 9-week course that you offer a session as part of that, or have I got that wrong?
No, not at all. Everybody that comes to the course gets one session as part of the course. And if there is, depending upon how many people are in the class, because I have limited time availability, of course, unless I can clone myself to be able to do sessions, which to the best of my knowledge has not happened. There are limited spaces available, but during the course of the course, if people want a second session for whatever reason, they get them at half cost.
Mm-hmm. Now, someone had asked for the details of your website, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, the website information is I've put that in the edentemplate.com / activations HTML. But if there's more or a more specific one, you'll stick that in, won't you? You'll stick that in the comments somewhere.
Just go to the homepage, you'll be able to navigate to everything that you want to get to. The activations link is not necessarily this. The website I wrote after coming back from Africa, then spending 3 months just staring out the window, and then in 6 months got the message when I started building it. It's still a work in progress.
I found my way around it all right.
So like a lot of people that have a business like this, to begin with, we end up doing everything. So I'm the owner and the president and the CEO and the COO and the chief financial officer and the head of human resources and the IT department, and I'm also the janitor. I get to do everything.
Someone else has also mentioned that the audio is going in and out. I'm assuming, because no one else has said yes, I'm assuming that that's just for you, Stephanie. Audio is good from this end, but if it's not, let us know. And in terms of your sessions, so I had a session with you a few days ago, and I wanted to share with you. I'd mentioned because we did work on removing an overlay, an energetic overlay from my energetic system. And I have to share with you that the pain in my foot the next day was way, way better, and it's almost gone. And it had been kind of at a plateau for a couple of weeks. And the only thing really that I can put that down to is the session. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you're, like I said, I don't do this work. I can't, I'm not a healer. I can't fix anybody. I can't make them well. But I can guide them to work to where there is an energy to be able to look at. So thank yourself. You're the one that did the work. And you know that you're the one that did the work.
I missed that. The plane went over when you said that.
Yeah, and you know that you're the one that did the work. I just had the privilege of witnessing what you were doing.
I think it's still helpful though, and when there's two of you, it does mean that the energy available for the healing that I'm doing for my own body is stronger, I feel, than it would be if it was just me.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not discounting the benefit of having a guide that can see what you can't or are unable to in this current moment. And that's pretty much my function.
Yeah. And sometimes we're too in it. When it's to do with ourselves, we're too in it to be able to see.
Trust me, when I get stuck, I call friends that do what I do.
Okay, now we are going to do, David is offering us a process. Are you still feeling the same one, a deeper grounding into Gaia as a stone?
Yeah.
I just want to check if there's anything else I wanted to ask you first. And I just want to say that it's been a little bit of a challenge. I can feel the energy is so strong. It's been a little bit of a challenge to kind of like stay here, stay with it, stay focused. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this process because I know how your processes are, having felt them, and even just from speaking to you and not doing a process, the energy is really strong. So
so with as amplified as the energies are, and sometimes they come in waves that you can almost feel like it's a shock wave, like a tsunami. It just rolls over sometimes. So at the beginning of our conversation, I stressed how important it is to stay, not to leave. And some of the, sorry, let me complete that. No judgment or anything else on anybody that chooses to leave. There's if it's time to go and you want to go, then it's time to go. But if you're going because you think it's hard or you feel that it's too hard, it is going to shift. So you've heard me say on multiple occasions that no matter how broken you think you are, you're not, because none of us are broken underneath all of the stuff that we've piled on top of ourselves. At our core, no matter who we are, and I don't care who we're talking about, At our core, we are the divine. That's it. There is no other option that is possible. We are the creator. You are the one that builds worlds, that creates galaxies, creates universes. That's who you are. That's who everybody is. So knowing all of that, some of these big energies coming through, they hit us like really strong waves. And just like being in the ocean, if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you turn around and a big wave slams you, it knocks you off balance. And there have been more than a few people that I know of that have gotten knocked off balance so extremely that they lost their bodies and they went back into non-physical. And more than a few people that have had really strong experiences where they almost crossed and were able to stabilize themselves and still stay in the body. So that's when this particular transmission came through. It's a normal grounding, just on a deeper level. And I would also stress that this is a process of grounding to the earth, to Gaia. But I would also stress that there will come a point for everybody where you no longer have to ground to the earth. So the universe could be described as a place that has no boundaries and yet whose center is everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are, that's the center of the universe. That's just like us. When you are fully grounded and centered within yourself, you become your own center. You do not have to ground to something like Gaia. But in the interim, this is just another tool to be able to use to have a little bit more, shall we say, stability. So it's very simple. So if you want to close your eyes and just begin to breathe, and as you're breathing, then allow yourself to come and center into your heart. And with each breath that you take, you go deeper into your heart. And as you go deeper, your heart opens wider and wider. And just like at the beginning of our time together here today, notice that beautiful column of translucent light that is coming down through your crown and forming a sphere around your heart. And as you continue breathing, that sphere grows larger and larger until it is larger than you. And since we are actually a group here, notice that there is everybody that is here, that is present here for this call, and also everybody that will be present listening to the replay is also here. And that sphere continues to grow larger until it's large enough to hold the entire group. Doesn't matter how many people there are, it's bigger than that. And then for each one of you, begin to condense or concentrate your energy, both in your auric fields, in all of them, and also in your physical vessel. Begin to condense it and concentrate it and take it down to your root. Really come into your body. And if you have difficulty doing that, you can make yourself be heavier so that you actually, almost like the force of gravity, forces you to sink into your body and come all the way down to your root. And when you've done that, notice underneath you, you can, however you experience it, whether you feel it or see it or just know that it's there, there is an energy center below you that is the Earth Star, whose radiance is downward focused to Gaia, to the Earth. Send a beam of light from your root down through the Earth Star and into the Earth, and let it go down into the core. and with no volition on your part other than the intention to allow it to happen. Feel a rock or a stone or a boulder, possibly even a mountain, not a crystal. Crystals are very high frequency beings. Think very dense. Think of just feel the call to a boulder or a stone or a mountain and allow yourself to go inside it. And then allow yourself to just surrender and become it. And feel the stability, feel the density that is that stone or rock or boulder, whatever it is that you've been called to. And this is just one piece in your toolbox that allows you to stay grounded in your body. You don't stay here all the time. But for those moments that you feel that you need some additional stability, some additional grounding or assistance in grounding, this is a perfect, quick little thing that you can do. And I stress again, we don't stay here all the time, but that anchoring of your energy into the earth, it helps hold you in the body while we navigate the waves that are coming through. And you can stay there as long as you wish. And when you're ready, you can come back up and open your eyes.
Thank you.
As you know, most people are not in their bodies. They're not. They're floating however much above them there are. You know this was true of me. I'm going on 76 now. I've got ways to go, but I'm no spring chicken. I finally, after when I celebrated my 74th birthday, that was the first birthday that I ever had actually in the body. So I understand this process. It is what it is. And you've also heard me say that most people function very well in the higher realms, in the higher energy sections. Most people got it. They function beautifully there. In the body, in the lower energy center, no. It takes a while to get there. You've also heard me say that the body's the final frontier. This is what we're here to do, is come into the body. You cannot complete the work of embodiment until you fully ground yourself and come into it. And it's fabulous.
And we can't fully, I always feel that we can't fully anchor these energies, not just into our bodies, but into Gaia, if we're not fully anchored as well.
That's how you do it, is you come fully into the body. Now you're able to embody all these energies that are coming through. You're able to ground them and anchor them into the earth.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Denise. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. It's always a pleasure just to share with you. And I know we're just right at our timeline, but if any of you watching the call or being present have any questions about any of the upcoming courses, feel free to email me.
And one of my dear friends, Alison, has said, Wow, he has an amazing voice.
So what is the voice?
What is the voice? It is your divinity expressing through your vocal cords.
Right. That's exactly what it is. It takes a fair amount of work to clean the center to where there's no focus. It takes a fair amount of work to clean yourself to where you're not interjecting yourself into the energy transmission that is coming through. So you've experienced this before. There is nothing, and I stress the words, there's nothing that I want from anybody. There's nothing that I need from anybody. I'm not here asking anybody for anything. I'm just here sharing presence. And when you share presence, everybody else's presence emerges to be able to share with you. So the voice is the carrier for that.
Yeah.
All that's required is that we get out of the way.
I went to Mount Shasta and I thought, I'm probably not supposed to be here because this is a very crystalline mountain. But that's where I went first. And then I went to Snowdon in Wales, it's a very slate mountain, Snowdon, like there is actual slate as part of the mountain. That was really beautiful. And someone has said, they love that your voice seems to have gotten deeper now that we're more anchored.
I have no comment for that. I don't know what to say.
For some reason, if people are wondering why, if people keep seeing me going in and out on Facebook, people who are on Facebook, it's not refreshing the comments. So I'm having to come out on my phone and go back in just to see if there are any more comments. For some reason, it's never done that before. But yeah, that's why I've been touching my phone a lot, so I can see the comment.
And may I take a moment to thank everybody that has joined us here. And it is a distinct pleasure to be here and a privilege. And if any of the coursework that I offer resonates with you, then I look forward to an ever deepening conversation, in whatever form that takes.
And I highly recommend, because that was a small snapshot. That was just a little crumb of what it feels to be taken through a process with you. I've been through 2 sessions and I highly recommend all of them. So hopefully we will see some of you who've been on the call with us on July the 10th. And yeah, the Eden templates as well are super powerful. So thank you very much, David. Thank you for being my guest on Love Speaks Love.
Absolutely. You know what a pleasure it is for me to be here. I love being with you. I treasure your friendship. It's always fun to hang with you.
Yeah, same. And thank you everybody who has joined us. I'm going to take that off now, who's joined us on Facebook for the live, and everybody that is with us in the future now moment on the replay, and everybody who's joined us on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Inner Peace with Denise, and all the other Love Speaks Loves are on there with more as well, some light language stuff too. And I just invite us all to bring our awareness back to our heart space at the end of this call, as we did at the beginning. And let us all breathe love into our beautiful hearts. And again, while we're in this beautiful space of love, consciously beaming love to all the places, situations, people on the planet that would benefit from receiving a little bit more love in their lives. And thank you to Gaia. Thank you to the Sun. Thank you to Source Creator. And if your eyes are closed again, just opening them when you're ready. And I will see you next week, everybody. And I will see you on July 10th.
I'm looking forward to it. And if I can do one slight piece of self-promotion, if you go to my website, sign up for the newsletters, and that way I can, when new courses come online, then I can communicate them to you.
Yeah, they really are a beautiful space, beautiful and powerful. So thank you.
The meditations themselves are designed, and that sounds like I created them. I didn't. They come through me. The guided meditations correspond to existing neural pathways that are inside all of us, whether they're dormant or not very active. And what they do is they awaken those channels and begin to expand them so that more and more frequencies, more and more of these absolutely delicious energies that are coming through begin to flow through us, and it just expands us and expands us. And I so look forward to sharing it with you.
And for those of you who've asked for the website, do you want to just speak that? It is in the wording of the post, but do you want to just say the website as well?
It's easy. It's www.theintemplate.com.
Just adding that.
And you can find me on Facebook too.
Cool. I think I've put that in. I think that's correct. All right. Thank you. I'm going to stop the live. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to be here with you.